Hello everyone and welcome to Nom Nom. Today we're going to be checking over a spaghetti bolognese recipe. Now this is a video made by another cooking channel, but I am going to give my honest opinion and my reaction to it. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin.
Bolognese is a traditional Italian meat sauce.
She's got an
Most
Australian
commonly
accent.
served with spaghetti, this can also be used for many other dishes. Here's my take on it.
Not really, love.
Like
Whatever you
most
think.
meat sauces, they get better the longer you cook them. So I usually try and make
God,
this
that
on
was
the weekend
painful to
when I
watch.
have a little more time. It freezes
No, cut
perfectly, so
right
make
off.
much
Oh,
more
nah.
than you need, and you'll always have some on hand to quickly
You
warm
are
up and serve
peeling an
with
onion
pasta or
wrong.
make a lasagna. Start with
I mean,
dicing the onion. If you would like the
she's not
full
wrong,
recipe
but
for this
you
bolognese,
would have been
it'll
better
be on
cutting
my
it out
website,
first.
as well as the full measurements listed
Just
in the
makes life
information
easier
box
for
below.
yourself.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new recipes each week.
Now subscribe to me. I'll give you a commentary
There
on it.
are a few different types of pots or pans you can cook bolognese in, but my favourite is a cast iron dish. It holds its
Right.
heat so well, it's rather large so can fit everything in, and the shape is perfect for this type of sauce. If you don't
You don't have to use a cast iron dish. Personally, I wouldn't. I would use your regular pan because it actually will allow the heat to rise quicker with your product instead of holding it. You want it to rise and you want it to bubble instead of just to be at that constant holding.
have one, a large size saucepan works, or even a large saute pan.
Well, there
Place
we
your
go.
pan or pot over medium heat and add about a tablespoon of olive oil. When it's hot, add in the onion.
I would add just more than a tablespoon. I would use a tablespoon and a bit of olive oil. It just gives it that nicer bit
Giving
at
it
the
a
bottom.
quick stir with a wooden spoon.
Only add the onions in when the olive oil is boiling also. Whenever that's properly getting warm and it's proper warm, you should hear a sizzle when you throw a bit of onion in. When it's sizzling, then add them in. Do not add anything in until it's sizzling. Otherwise, it'll completely slow the entire cooking process right down. It'll take forever.
We're using a sofrito, excuse my accent, which is a combination of aromatic ingredients.
Also, don't take that much off of the top and tail of a carrot. Please don't. You will never make a profit. So bye-bye holiday in Barbados. Hello holiday in Blackpool.
Onions, carrots, and celery, also known as mirepoix in French cuisine. It creates a great base and depth of flavours for the bolognese. Dice up 2 to 3 medium-sized carrots and add to the onions, giving them a quick stir.
Oh god, unless you're making this for multiple people, do not use 2 to 3 carrots. Otherwise you're gonna have one hell of a carroty dish. Please, please, please. I would use, if it's just one person, I would use half a carrot. If it's two, then about 1.5 or so. But kind of, if it's one person, just use half or 3/4. Do not use 3 full carrots.
Lastly is celery. All of this can be quite a lot of chopping, so if you have one, use a food processor instead.
Never, ever, ever use a food processor. Not in the kitchen. It'll absolutely destroy your cuttings. Your cuttings will not be as well as you could do with a knife. And it's also visibly irritating for me.
Process it until the ingredients are small, but not a puree. Or another option is grating. It may look a little different, but the bolognese will still end up tasting exactly the same.
You'll be standing there forever if you grate it. Fuck me, it'll take 5 years.
Cook the onion, carrot and celery over medium heat for about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring occasionally with a wooden spoon until the onion becomes transparent. You're not trying to brown the ingredients, just soften them a little. Turn the heat to high and add in the minced meat. You can break it up before.
I would cook the mince in a separate pan. I wouldn't add it in raw with the vegetables. And I would also do the meat first. So I'd throw the meat in a pan, cook it off, grate it, smash it all down or break it all up, whatever terminology you want to use. Then I would cook the vegetables and then I would add it in. And while I'm doing the meat, also seasoning. You must always season meat.
But I find it's just as easy to do it in the pot. Bolognese works best using 2 different types of minced meat, beef and pork.
Right, I've got 2 points about that last quote. One, it doesn't. You can use the same exact minced meat, beef or pork for a bolognese. It really doesn't matter. And two, well, yeah, it was 1 point.
If you just have beef, don't sweat it, it'll still taste great. The 2 different meats give the sauce different textures, while the pork also adds flavour and fat to tenderize.
The beef will do the exact same job on its own.
Break the meat up with a wooden spoon and stir to combine with the onions, carrots and celery. You may notice while the meat is cooking that there is a liquid at the bottom of the pan. If this happens, make sure your heat is on high and continue to cook the meat until the liquid disappears.
If you do the mince in its own pan, that will not happen. Also, she has not done any seasoning yet. I would season occasionally throughout cooking the meat. What I personally use is chili powder and a little bit of table salt, because the chili powder gives it that nice seasoning, that nice heat and texture, that spice. You want that. So when you eat it, it's warmer and it combines all in your tongue. On your tongue, it just makes it better, really.
It starts to fry again. You want to make sure you're browning the minced meat, not just stewing it until you can no longer see any red or pink. Browning equals flavour, so keep the heat on high. Season well with salt and pepper. When the minced meat has browned, keep the heat on high and pour in the wine, about half a cup's worth. The wine will deglaze the pan, basically releasing anything that has stuck to the bottom and bubble away to reduce.
I wouldn't add wine. For adding alcohol to many things, especially if you're in a restaurant, that can remove it as an option for if you have like Gilbert syndrome or jaundice. That means they would be restricted depending on what kind of wine or alcohol and how much of it you've used, as you're getting into a really kind of rough footing territory there.
You want to reduce it by half before adding in the next ingredients. Don't worry about alcohol content, the heat burns it off straight away, leaving a sweet flavour.
Not always. Very, very rarely unless you're on an incredibly high heat, but you cannot keep that heat for the entire time of cooking.
Stir well to make sure everything is well combined. Turn the heat to low and add the tomato concentrate or paste and herbs. The tomato concentrate is basically concentrated tomatoes, which means it adds a lot of flavour in a small package.
It's tomato puree she's using. Do not let her terminology confuse you. You can use simple, pure tomato puree that you can buy in a shop, or you can make it yourself with just tomatoes.
For herbs, I'm using oregano because it's my favourite, but you can also use basil, thyme or mixed herbs. You'll need about a teaspoon.
You can use way more herbs like this. As I've said, I use chili powder. It doesn't have to be a herb, it can be a powder. You can use whatever you wish. If you like it and you have it, use it. You can use anything. As long as it tastes good, use it.
Of dried. Mix everything in until combined. This is where I go a little off course to what is the traditional way to make bolognese. In saying that, keep in mind cooking is what you make it. It's great to have your own spin on things and not just follow recipes to the letter. I'm using tinned tomatoes. Traditionally, all that would be added next is chicken stock, and that would be all the tomato flavour in the dish. If you're not sure, try both ways and let me know which you like better. It's all about experimenting.
That is actually true, and I could not agree more with her. As I said, I'm just doing my commentary on this, but a few of the things she said I have issues with.
Pour the tomatoes into the bolognese along with a cup of water to loosen everything up and give the bolognese a good stir. Turn the heat to low, put on the lid and leave to cook anywhere from 30 minutes to 8 hours. In my opinion, the longer the better, but that all depends on how much time you have available. If you're not going to be home, transfer the sauce to a slow cooker and cook on low. Give the bolognese a stir every so often to break up the tomatoes. Closer to when you want to serve, check the consistency, and if the sauce is too thin, remove the lid and simmer the sauce on medium until it thickens. Always make
It shouldn't take that long to make a bolognese sauce. Never.
sure to taste your food before serving and add more salt and pepper if necessary. Serve with spaghetti for the ultimate spaghetti bolognese, or use it to make lasagna. Let me know if you would like the recipe for that.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. My overall summary was I agreed with most of the things she has said, well, some, and I quite liked her recipe, but it felt like she was kind of limiting what you should use to season, but you can use whatever you wish. And I wouldn't just use salt and pepper, I would mix it up and use other herbs or powders or spices to give it a more unique and wonderful taste. Well, anyway, I will see you in my next video, and goodbye for now.